Good morning and welcome to the second day of the conference, Media Meets Literacy. Today is the time for inspiration. There are a lot of interesting topics that influence modern media today. 12 storytelling presentations will spread over 2 sessions. Together they will give an overview of what media literacy education in Europe stands for today. Stories have been selected in diversity. They come from different countries, tell different stories, focusing on different media types and brought from different perspectives. The presentations will address contemporary media and education, the crucial issues and approaches, and solutions to the crucial issues. Before the first session starts, I have to mention that for everyone who is departing from Sarajevo airport on flights at 3:10 p.m. and 3:20 p.m., there will be 2 buses waiting in front of the theater entrance at 1:30 sharp. One for the experts and one for the participants. And after some logistical information, it is time for inspiration. And now to our first speaker. Mrs. Amanda Bennett is a Pulitzer Prize-winning author, investigative journalist, and editor, and also the director of The Voice of America. She will talk about the power of truth in a world of disinformation. What is the role of journalism in today's cluttered media environment where disinformation and misinformation often spread rapidly and unchecked? Yeah.
Thank you, and good morning, everybody. You know, I arrived here for my first visit in Sarajevo and to this conference to find the mood here almost as gray and dark as the weather outside. We feel sad. We feel discouraged. We talk about bots, about hostile governments, even Macedonian teenagers spewing disinformation and half-truths. Even the words we use here, fake news, as if it could be fake and still news. Post-truth, as if truth has somehow ceased to exist. We feel almost defeated. We feel like we're facing an enemy that no one has ever faced before. And yet the truth is that attacks on the truth are nothing new. Even in my own country, you can go back and find attacks on the truth back going decades, even centuries. What were the tabloids reporting back then? The same things the tabloids are reporting today. Who was sleeping with whom? Who was having children with whom? Who was taking money from whom? And it was all politically motivated, and none of it had a basis in truth. So just how bad was it? You know, today you might associate the name of Joseph Pulitzer with the finest journalism possible. But the truth is, Joseph Pulitzer bought that reputation by funding the prize. Back in his own day, his name meant the most vicious lies and mistruths. His work makes today's work look tame. Today we're told that lies matter because truth is hard. That lies have power because they don't speak to our head, they speak to our heart. They speak to our worst selves, to our anger, to our prejudice, and to our fear. But that leaves out another emotion, and a very, very important one. It's trust. Trust and belief. You know, in today's shifting sands of misinformation, I think people are tired of being confused. I think they want something to trust. I think truth matters. I think facts matter. And I think we matter. So, what do we do at Voice of America? As you all probably know, we're the government-funded independent broadcaster. We broadcast in 60 countries, 47 different languages. And you might think in this climate we should fight propaganda with even better propaganda. But in fact, we're doing the opposite. We are doubling down on traditional journalistic values, on fairness, on facts. Because we believe that in the end, people recognize the truth. And we'll show the truth by showing what is. So, how do we fight the disinformation that Russians in America live in drudgery and that they long to come home? We travel across America and have the Russians in America tell their own stories. How do we fight the North Korean disinformation that Koreans and Americans in America are abused, mistreated? We let the Korean policemen, Korean hairdressers, Korean entrepreneurs tell their own stories. How about the disinformation that the Russian old believers who crossed the strait into Alaska would have been better off staying back in Russia? Well, with our current time network that we share with Radio Free Europe, we let them answer the question themselves. And how do you know it's the truth? Because we show all of it. We show the wealth and the poverty. We show people succeeding in Alaska, and we also show a woman with a master's degree who can only get a job as a fishmonger. We show the good and the bad. We show the prosperity and the environmental problems. We show opportunity. We also show homelessness. We show acceptance and conflict, tolerance, but also racism. You know, the truth has to be everybody's truth. If an official tells the truth, you report it as the truth. If an official tells a lie, you report that it's a lie, and then you correct it with the facts. If someone we like does something wrong, we should report that. And if someone we dislike does something right, we should report that too. So what's the result of telling the truth? It's trust. I can see one example from right here in Bosnia. Our journalist traveled to a Salafi village, Gornja Maucha, that was once a source of Salafi ISIS recruitment. It took us deeper and deeper into that village. They welcomed us in there, the only ones that were allowed to stay overnight in there, to look at them very closely. And you know why they did that? Because they trusted us. In Africa, our reporting on Boko Haram was so fearless, which included 18 hours of video that we acquired directly from Boko Haram itself that showed them committing the most unspeakable atrocities. Well, that reporting was so powerful and so truthful that later on, one young man said that it was listening to Voice of America secretly that helped persuade him to leave that group. You know, even in North Korea, they trust us.
My name is
The highest-ranking North Korean defector ever said that he and all the other members of the foreign ministry listened to Voice of America. And why did they do that? Because they knew we told the truth. So let's go back in history, back to a time when Nazism and fascism were gripping the world. It might be a time when some of you or your parents were even listening to Voice of America, and you remember that. So let's use the words of Edward R. Murrow, who helped establish the values that we at Voice of America follow even today. The truth is the best propaganda, and lies are the worst. To be persuasive, we must be believable. To be believable, we must be credible. To be credible, we must be truthful. And it's as simple as that. Thank you very much.